How's it going, buddy?
Copy?
Yep. Got you loud and clear. You got me?
Loud and clear.
Heck yeah.
Alright, well, this is new to me.
Same. I normally broadcast iRacing. Step up to the real deal here.
Well, certainly a fun track, and what should be a fun event.
Yeah, this is my first time looking at go-karts since running shifters on Gran Turismo back in like the 2010s.
Well, I'm just trying to get our timing pulled up so we can confirm what is currently running.
This track looks like a blast.
Well, I haven't driven it too much, but for the couple sessions I have done here in a rental kart, it is a blast. And that bowl section on your screen now, fantastic to drive. I think I ran the other direction though, so as we see the karts heading and using it as a right-hand turn. The only time I've driven it, I came through with the left-hand version of it, but regardless, this facility is certainly going to give some action today.
Yeah, I watched about 30 minutes or so from week before last or last week's broadcast here, and this does look like a hoot. I like it. It kind of reminds me with that bank turn. I know they call it Daytona, and it looks exactly like the tri-oval just got plopped right in the middle of a kart track, but it kind of gives me Riverside vibes from Riverside back in the 80s. Cup Series used to go there a lot.
Yeah, I got you. Very familiar with that one. And a lot of great races at Riverside. Hopefully we'll see some good racing today as we're getting wrapped up on track for this session. And we will get you more information as we have it. And just wrapping up on track there, that was our 206 Masters qualifying. I do believe. So as we see the next class come out, I have KA Senior headed out on track now. And we got one around here on the warm-up lap early. Cold tires, early mornings, it's all good. We got plenty of laps left to run. Everybody just trying to put in a good lap time. Another kart going around, but trying to go as fast as possible to start well up the order when we get into the racing action here in the next couple of rounds. Trying to pick up some specific names and karts for you, but regardless, good action on the track, and as we start to track more closely, you can start to see the brands and the numbers on these KA Senior karts. Top kart on your screen right here coming through the last corner. We'll see what the lap times are first time around. Everybody's working their way through. And a fairly tightly contested top three through the first lap. 42.842 is the current mark by Charlie Steins. closely followed up by 42.88. That'd be Elijah Fox turning that lap time on lap number 1. So as the drivers work laps number 2 and 3, they'll be looking to hit a 42.8 as the mark to beat. So, 3 laps in the books here in qualifying for KA Senior. Elijah Fox now moving up into that number 1 position. The number 01 Kart turning a 41.761, 200ths of a second quicker than AJ Lund in P2. Now, just as I say that, the next lap, everybody turning quicker laps. Elijah Fox improving on his own P1 lap time now goes to a 41.3. It'll put him 3/10 clear of the field with Charlie Steins, improving up to P2, 41.67. AJ Lund dropping back 1 spot to 3rd, and Casey Perry now drops into that P4 spot. So as we have just over a minute left in qualifying here for KA Senior, 41.342 is the mark to beat set by Elijah Fox in that 01 machine. Can anybody get there? A couple drivers are close, but no one so far. Time ticking out here in KA Masters as everybody's turning their final laps. On lap number 6, Elijah Fox still standing strong, 41.246 now, his best lap time in that 01 machine. Puts him in just exactly a 10th ahead of AJ Lund there in the 43. Then you go back to Charlie Steins in the 88 and Braden Rudder improving up P4 in that 929 machine. Lane Gibbs in P5, and wait as they finish crossing the line, get you your final qualifying results in KA Seniors and KA Masters. But as everybody trips the timing line one final time, Charlie Steins improving on that last lap, lap number 7. Not enough to get the pole position, but just inching closer towards Elijah Fox's lap time. So Elijah Fox there on top, Charlie Steins P2, AJ Lund P3, Braden Rudder comes home P4, Lane Gibbs rounds out your top 5. Farther on back, it's Casey Perry, Blake Finley, Michael J. Gundolf, Randall Hubble, and Joshua Nelson rounds out your top 10 and the edge of the field here in KA Senior and KA Master. As we watch them head to the scales, see everybody gets their weight checked. We'll come back to you with some more racing action. A couple more quality classes, and we'll get the racing events started for the day here at Whiteland Raceway Park. And welcome back on track here from the Indy Karting Challenge. My name is Simon Sykes. I'm joined by Sheldon as we bring you live coverage. We are now into the heat racing action here with the 206 Sportsman category taking their warm-up lap.
Yeah, this right here is where I'm expecting it to start heating up now.
So, as we see the drivers working their way around, the outlap forming into those tram lines, getting set to take the green. We'll see if we can give you an update on which drivers are where and how the field's laid out. We are racing here in 206 Sportsman. All clean through the first couple of corners. It was Austin Taylor on the pole, Dominic Gaddis to his outside, Danny O'Gara there in third, Dylan Thomas in fourth, and Dalton Sears was your top five starters as they work through the bowl. It's 257, I believe. Dominic Gaddis up into P1, if I'm seeing that correctly. We have action in a battle there for third on track. Danny O'Gara, the driver, slated to start in third place. We'll see if we can pick him up this time around, see how lap one treated all of these drivers.
So far, clean starts for everybody. No real issues here on this first lap. Everybody's single filing it out pretty quick, too. Getting to work. That battle for third place is absolutely heating up right now.
Yes, and it was, as mentioned, Dominic Gaddis working his way from P2, taking the lead on that first lap. Then it's Austin Taylor dropping back one, falling under fire to Danny O'Gara there in the third place. So second and third. A good fight on your screen at the moment as they are toe-to-toe for P2 and P3, then a bigger gap back to P4, but we'll see if they work together to try and reel in Dominic Gaddis here early in the session. It is a 5-minute plus 2 lap race, so a short amount of time to get a lot of work done.
Yeah, not a lot of time at all. Plenty of time to make mistakes, not enough time to recover, though.
And we'll see the lap times. Lap times do indicate that we could be seeing some action at the front of the field later in this event. Dominic Gaddis, quick, but not the fastest driver on track. That goes to Austin Taylor there in P2 by 0.02 of a second. He and O'Gara hooking up, running well together. Dylan Thomas a bit farther back, that driver in P4, running a 47.3. It'll be a couple of tenths off what the top three are running, so we'll be looking for the top three to close in and extend their gap over the rest of the field. That time by Danny O'Gara with the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, 46.6, absolute heater that lap. 10th up on the guys around him. Really starting to make moves on Taylor in second place, too. We saw him get a really, what looked like it was going to be a really nice dive down into one of the corners, back into the track, and then thought better of it. And still all over the rear bumper of Taylor as they come out.
And you see this great shot exiting the bowl. Top three clearly distancing themselves from the rest. Then Dylan Thomas and Dalton Sears hooking up together. But the top three closing, inching closer on track as Dominic Gaddis slowly getting reeled in by Austin Taylor and Danny O'Gara. O'Gara with the fastest lap that time by one really this time by Austin Taylor with the fastest lap, 46.4. The time's constantly improving, the tires getting hotter and the pressure's rising. 46.4 now at the mark. Dominic Gaddis a 46.6 last time by, so with 0.2 over the leader on that lap. A minute and a half left in this race to head through the bowl, and it'll be heating up as the battle for the top three continues to close down. But there's a move for P4. That was Dalton Sears down to the inside under Dylan Thomas. Will move up to P4, but the top three, nose to tail, the battle has commenced at the front of the field.
Yes, it has. Right now you got Taylor taking a look to the inside of Gaddis here as they come down the straightaway. Going to back out of it coming into the corner. Still all over the rear bumper of that Kart, though.
And just look how fast these times are improving. Last time by, down to a 46.0. The Kart's just getting quicker and quicker as 2 and 3 still cementing their advantage with Austin Taylor. 46.0 last time by. Gaddis only a 46.3. But now as the battles start to ramp up, we'll see if the times continue to hold or drop off slightly. Now it looks like the top two maybe breaking away from Danny O'Gara just a little bit there, sitting in P3. See what times are this time around, but with some action heating up at the front, 20 seconds on the clock, I have to assume we'll be coming to the white flag this time by 46.2 for Gaddis, Taylor 46.2, and O'Gara down to a 46.5. So he was a little bit off that lap. We'll see if any of the racing here can close the gap any farther.
Right now, if you're Gaddis, the one thing you don't want to do is slip a tire or make a mistake, because you have a rear bumper full of two hungry drivers right there behind you, just within spitting distance. We see Taylor putting the pressure on him again here on the second end of the track. Really good in this section. Loses a little bit to Gaddis, though, on the front half. Really good through the technical sector.
And as they work through the last couple of corners, what looks to be an MPG 1-2 as they'll come across the line here to complete your heat race. I believe that was the checker, and that would be Dominic Gaddis, start to finish, pole, outside pole, 2P1 over Austin Taylor. O'Gara coming home in P3 there. You see the drivers out of the bowl that time by. An excellent race there from the top three. Farther back, Dalton Sears making that pass we saw earlier. Comes home P4. Dylan Thomas in P5. Farther back, Jordan LePen. P6, Elam Stoner. P7, Casey Hendrickson. P8, Lincoln Willie. P9, Blake Martinez. P10. And we had a total of 15 karts out there on track for 206 Sportsman. The last couple of starters and finishers in that race. Nolan Wade comes home P11. Titus Roberts P12. Oh wait, I have to apologize here. When the timer ran out, I assumed we were going to a last lap, the previous lap. However, I mistimed that by one lap as the driver's still attacking hard, and the fighting in the top three has just exploded with the two MPG karts going at each other. Gaddis and Taylor attacking, and even look at O'Gara slipping in there. O'Gara up to P2. O'Gara looking for the lead. Last couple of corners. This is the last lap. Can O'Gara get it done? We'll see at the line as they cross. It is O'Gara from third to first on that last lap. Wow, what a finish. Austin Taylor comes home P2, and Gaddis from the lead to third on that last lap.
What a drive for O'Gara. That was insane.
Hey, as I was tripped up trying to go through the finishing order on one lap too early, the action just exploded on track. A lot of, what was that? That was 8 laps of calm racing, and then all of a sudden the top three, white flag came out, gloves came off, and O'Gara from the back end of that group, third on track for 8 laps, but it doesn't matter. He'll get it done on the final one. The only lap that truly matters in your heat race that will set the grid for your finals later this morning. But O'Gara with a well-timed move to hop over the two MPG karts, who will come home second and third. That was Taylor and Gaddis also involved in that battle for the lead. They'll come home 2 and 3 for MPG. Farther back, Dalton Sears, like we mentioned, not a whole lot of changes farther on down the order, and I had already called most of the names on that white flag lap, so it takes us through most of the runners there in 206 Sportsman's. Up next on the grid, as you can see, it is a 206 Cadet class.
I can't believe the drive that O'Gara had there on that last lap, man. I can see him get one spot, man, knocking off 2 and what looked like about 2.5 corners. It's amazing.
I would have to say, like, it's great battling, and I want to say I'm surprised, but I've seen Danny O'Gara do great things at those national races, at some of the primetime main events. So a driver well familiar with how to win these races. He gets it done in the heat race. We'll see what he has in store for us for the final, but definitely some great racing and a lot of action there.
Yeah, that was awesome. Any chance he was back there kind of saving a little bit of tire? I mean, I don't imagine tire wear's too massive in these, but, you know, me being a kind of a novice when it comes to karts, how big is tire fall-off even a thing that we're going to be looking at?
Yeah, so while we have a minute, let's talk about all these nuances, specifically to kart racing and the classes we have here today. We have now on track is your 206 Cadet class taking their warm-up lap, or about to take their warm-up. Here's a replay of that finish, I believe, and the move that secured O'Gara the win. But you see, we're running these 206 engines here in these classes. We also have the K8 package, the 206 being a 4-cycle chassis. We're not putting out huge amounts of power. The tire typically will last pretty well in these kinds of parts. I'm assuming O'Gara wasn't going for tire wear so much as he was just positioning himself, keeping him in a nice spot, not battling too much because he didn't need to. He was right where he wanted to be on the last lap and makes 2 quick, efficient moves to take the victory there at the end. So I wouldn't be looking on too heavily for tire wear in these classes, the kids classes especially. We'll see that. We certainly do see tire wear in karting. Typically, we'll see it more in those faster 2-cycle classes. KA will get it a little bit. This is a pretty short track. I'm curious to see how the tire wear works here, but typically that's something reserved for maybe your X30s, your KZs that are going to be a lot of power down on the track and have a softer tire compound. So as the 206 cadets leave the grid to take their out lap, we'll see if we can get you through a starting order for this race.
Oh, got one around.
See if
they're
we can
further in the back.
That driver. Issues here on the warm-up lap. We saw that a bit in the KA Senior qualifying session as well. Temps definitely a bit cooler. The track not at its peak temperature of the day, so drivers just getting it all figured out this morning. As we'll see one more go around in the background. So as we try and get through this warm-up lap, plenty of action happening on screen before the race even has started.
Well, that is one thing that is universal, regardless of what division or what type of vehicle you're racing. Some cold tires will come back and bite you real quick if you're a little too overzealous.
And don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I've been competing in the USF Pro Championships, and it's not reserved to karting. We've seen it there as well. I believe the flag is out. We are racing. That is the number 33 of Reagan Hodges, taking the quick lead from the pole. Will fly around, and we'll just double check. I believe that was the green. I believe we were not waved off on that start. So Leah Simonellic there in P2, Christopher Hines in P3, Diesel Maxwell P4, Patrick McNeely rounding up your top 5 so far. We got flashing lights. I believe this may be going around one more time to reset our formation. If not, that's a huge lead. If so, let's go ahead and work through the rest of the order. Atreyu Rittenhouse P6, Enzo Signer P7, Tate Hall P8, Kyler Hendrickson P9. But as the laps start to tick off, wow, what an early lead we are seeing here. Reagan Hodges gone from the field. Leah Simonellic there in P2.
That is a massive advantage for Hodges. We saw close quarter battling the entire last race, and this one, Hodges is out here to a massive advantage, and second, and even bigger advantage to third at the moment.
And you can just look at the opening lap times. With the 206 Sportsman category, we saw nearly identical lap times, at least from the top 3 through most of the race here. A couple of seconds throughout the top 5. 53.3 first lap for Reagan, down to a 59 for Tate Hall. So the range is spreading and the laps starting to click off. 49.4, drivers picking up the pace rapidly as they figure out the tires and build those temperatures into their equipment. A 49.4 compared to a 50.5. Reagan Hodges over Leah Simonellic last lap, so the gap extending now. 3-second advantage already on lap number 2 for Reagan Hodges. And drivers we're seeing here at Whiteland, we also see featured in our national series. Lee Simonelli, one that comes to mind. Drivers that run all across the country, so a lot of good experience here. Featured today at Whiteland Raceway Park, but in this class, Reagan Hodges, the man of the hour here in the heat race.
Yeah, if you're Hodges right now, you're just wanting to tiptoe it from here, try to maintain that gap and not make any huge mistakes at the same time. I mean, that is just an impressive lead, especially this early.
And we may be seeing issues on my timing. Reagan Hodges, I believe, still first on track, but maybe a timing issue. Only seeing 2 laps completed on his transponder. We'll see if we can pick him up on track. Some good fighting around the rest. But Hodges not appearing to have tripped that timing beacon last time through. We'll see if he can get you an eye on that number 33 card as they work around for lap number 3. A bit of confusion across the timing sheets, but Liat Simonelli currently sits there in first place now, as I think we have had an issue for Reagan Hodges, and I'm not sure what happened to Reagan after such an impressive start. But Liat Simonelli now leads the field by 6 seconds over Diesel Maxwell. So our top runner, having dropped out early, Reagan Hodges nowhere to be found.
Speaking of huge advantages, 6 seconds ahead of Diesel Maxwell in second place. Just gone at this point.
Yes, I mean, he is definitely taking control over this race, running lap times that are over a second quicker than Diesel Maxwell there in P2. Liat Simonelli, driver featured regularly on our national schedule. You see him in full action today. 49.9 last time by, 49.7 is his best. 50.0 for Diesel Maxwell. So now only a 10th separating him, but it's the early laps that got this advantage to where it is 6.5 seconds for Simonelli. That should be a gap he should be able to cruise and maintain, hopefully, provided no mistakes throughout the next couple of laps. The timer ticking down. Less than half a minute left on the clock. We'll get the white flag when it hits 0. And that was my apologies on the last race. You'll see some racing action here in the background, but it is a 5 minute plus 2 laps. So once that timer runs out, we'll get the 2 to go signal, and the drivers will have 2 more laps to complete their heat race. So while the gap up front certainly massive, there is racing action here in the background as you look to this group here that is 3, 4, 5, seeming to be fairly close on track. Those are the drivers that were on your screen there. Racing door to door. We'll see if there's any more changes through the rest of this race, but Simonelli seeming to have control here early in 206 Cadet.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect too. At the same time, though, you've talked about how much coverage he's had, nationally in this division. I mean, you'd expect him to come out here and just absolutely dominate, and that's what we're seeing right now.
It is what we're seeing, but what is surprising to me is Reagan Hodges. I'd love to get an update on that driver. We have some action here on your screen. That is the battle for the edge of the podium there. We'll keep an eye on that as the last lap works its way through. But I do want to touch on that point. Reagan Hodges, although Simonelli, a driver featured on our national calendar, Hodges was the man to beat early. Still has the fastest lap of the race set on lap 2 at 49.4. No one's come close to hitting that yet, but the battling seeming to be farther back on track as Simonelli wrapping this one up early. We've got a battle for 3 and 4, a battle farther back, like it's in the 6, 7, 8 positions on track here in Cadet, working through the last lap. Advantage now up to just about 8 seconds for Simonelli in the lead, and everything settling in here on the last lap. That'll be Simonelli crossing the line, taking victory here in 206 Cadet.
And what a great performance from Simonelli there, and absolute heartbreak for Hodges. I too would love to know what happened there.
Yeah, definitely a tough break, and we'll actually, I'm curious to see what the finals have for us in store, because Hodges the back, certainly a driver to watch, setting the fastest lap on lap 2 of that race. Early advantage out to about 4 seconds before he fell off of the track. We're not sure whether it was mechanical or what, but we'll see if we can get you more information on that as the rest of the field crosses the line. So, Menelik, your victor here in the heat race. Maxwell coming home P2, Enzo Steiner P3, Tate Hall P4, Kyler Hendrickson rounds out your top 5. Farther back, it's Christopher Heinzen P6, Patrick McNeely P7, and Patriu Rittenhouse P8, and Reagan Hodges, the driver, not crossing the line that time by 6 laps down in P9. So look for Reagan Hodges to be making moves in the final later today. That'll wrap up your 206 Cadet Heat. Up next, 206 Medium coming your way here in just a few moments. So, with the 206 Cadets all wrapped up, taking to the track now, your 206 Medium category. You see everybody warming up their tires fairly aggressively there on this opening lap, trying to get all the heat into them. We've seen issues with that on the opening laps so far. The drivers will file into the tram lines and get set to get their heat event started. Again, it is 5 minutes plus 2 laps for these heat races, so a 5-minute timer. Once that runs out, they will get the 2 sticks in the air and have 2 laps of racing action left in the heat. A bigger field here than we've seen in the Cadets or the Sportsman so far, so some good action coming your way here in just a few moments.
I'm expecting this to be a show here. Green flag's in the air now. So they charge down to the first corner, side by side still.
And a fairly clean start by everybody in the field. No incidents through the first turn. It was Levi Wilbur taking the green from the pole position over Evan McCorkadale and Jared Howerton there in P3. So as we see drivers head through the bowl, looking for moves. One there, not able to complete it on the inside of the bowl, but into the next hairpin down the end of this long straight. We'll see a couple of passes there a bit farther back. The top three still nose to tail, and the racing there for P5 as the drivers work through lap number one. Tightly contested front of the field this time, unlike your 206 cadets. We'll see as they cross the line who's the biggest movers on lap number one. Levi Wilbur from the pole leads the field. Jared Howerton makes that move. Started P3, now up into P2. Evan McCorkadale losing one spot. Braden Johnson making up two, up into P4, setting the fastest first lap of the race so far. You see him there leading that next group. It looks like we'll have a pass lining up for P2 as Evan looks to go to the inside of that number 78 of Jared Howerton. Not able to stick the move just yet, but still the top seven just about nose to tail early in this race.
First 7 cars absolutely under a blanket at the moment. Levi Wilbur getting a little bit of an advantage here as we come down the straightaway. As part of their
and as they complete lap number 2, still nose to tail throughout the top group. It's about 7 karts deep, and it was Elijah Fox making up position that lap, setting the fastest lap at a 47.0. So we'll see the field continue to close together and look for any more passes in this top group. Top 7 absolutely having checked out from the karts behind them.
Big slide.
About 4.5 seconds in. Yeah, big slide there, Sheldon.
Oh, sorry, that caught me. Don't have a mic muted for a second. And what a great job to save that thing, though, because I thought that cart was going around in front of the field.
Call the action as you see it, because there is action aplenty, especially P3, 4, and 5 going at it pretty hard. It was Howerton and P2 setting the fastest lap that time by. He'll extend his advantage a little bit, look to chase down Levi, but it's behind them where the action has been building. It's still 7 karts deep in the top pack. Then a big advantage to the karts behind. So the top 7 still nose to tail, and that is where the action is on track. 2 minutes on the clock. Nobody making moves in there into the sweeper this time by. That is the longest straight and one of the better passing zones. We'll work into the tighter corners to end the lap. Nobody making moves. A couple of kart links separating each, and we'll see what the lap times click off as Levi, looking to have a fairly strong lap there, extends the advantage. Now holds a nice half-second gap to the karts behind them. They'll be looking to use all the draft they can find, which is fairly large in these 206 categories. These karts draft really well, so look for the gaps to kind of have that bungee effect, or like a slinky where it'll spread out, but then everybody will jam back together as the draft closes them on this large straight. Looking for a move there. That's about for P6. I believe that was a Braden Herbert. Looking for a move, not going to get it done that time by, but Levi's advantage not holding for long. Jared Howerton on the move, and Evan behind him was the fastest last time by, and look at that, moves at the front, Sheldon.
Yeah, right now, battle for the lead. Howerton and Wilbur side by side. Right now, McCorkadale is up to second place now. I hope I didn't butcher that.
No, you did as good of a job as we can possibly hope with that. As we look at the top 7, still nose to tail. Levi holds that advantage. Corkadale up to P2. Howerton going to drop back to 1, but still plenty of time and racing left in this heat race here as Wilbur is in that 06 machine holding his advantage. Evan there, close on his bumper. Will he look for a move this time by? No, but behind them, almost a move there for P3. Elijah Fox looked to the inside, not going to secure the move yet. And they'll cross the lap this time. And if I can count the lap times and the timing right, they'll get 2 to go next time by. So laps winding down, the action will start to heat up. This will set the grid order for your final later this morning. And there's the move for P3. It looked like Elijah Fox getting down the inside there, and Howerton going to lose a couple out of that battle. So the top two now extending their advantage, 3, 4, 5, and 6, nose to tail fighting hard.
You get a little bit of an advantage now over McCorkadale in second place, starting to pull him just a smidgen. A little bit further ahead than he was these past couple laps as he brings it back down straightaway here.
Canada beat 2 to go at the stripe this time. There you see the sticks in the air. And Levi 0.2 better on that last lap, but the pack is starting to close back together. We'll see with 1 lap to go at the stripe if anybody's got anything for Levi Wilbur. He's been flag to flag so far, just another couple of laps to secure a wire-to-wire victory. But the challenge, Evan McCorkadale in that number 19 kart, closing in ever so slightly.
Yeah, we saw it race before last too. You know, we pretty much had that thing wrapped up. Thought it was over. We were, sitting there counting them down, and next thing you know, last 2 corners, third place, just charged out of nowhere, got to the lead. Wonder if we're going to see that again here. So they take the white.
White flag flies that time by Elijah Fox, fastest lap of the race there from P3. So the top 3 nose to tail that don't count out 4th and 5th, Braden Johnson and Braden Eber, the 2 Bradens, 4 and 5, looking to close in on the top 3. White flag, will we see any moves? Evan McCorkadale there on that rear bumper of Levi Wilbur. Is he going to make a move? Yet not into this corner. A couple of corners left here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Setting up the moves for the last time by. Will we see any defensive moves offered to the inside? Look at that for Elijah Fox. Not going to stick it, and the order will remain the same.
One heck of a good drive for Wilbur here as he brings it to take the checkered flag. Wilbur's going to win this one with McCorkadale in second and Elijah Fox in third.
And that was close at the line, only 1/10 of a second separating those top 2. McCorkadale gave him a good run for his money, but Levi Wilbur, flag to flag, start to finish, stayed in that first Oklahoma good senior medium victory over Evan McCorkadale, Elijah Fox in P3, Braden Johnson over Braden Eber, 4th and 5th, and then on back we go, Jared Howerton finishing 6th, Raider Santos in 7th, Dylan Howerton 8th, Gage Justiniano 9th, Brady Sappenfield rounded out your top 10. 16 drivers competed, and it was Nicholas Nossman in P11 over Palmer Eicher Jr., Mike Hamaker P13, Ryan Waldo, then Craig Bowen and Michael Greenwood rounded out your field there for senior medium. When we come back, it'll be time for the 206 juniors getting set to go for their heat race. A couple of more heats, and then we'll go final racing action for the morning classes. So stay tuned. Some good racing on the way. And after that close battle there in our senior mediums with 7 karts thereabouts in the top group, we'll see what the 206 juniors have in store for us for the morning heat races. And these warm-up laps seeming to be key here early in these races, with both the cadets and the sportsmen. Whoever got the better opening laps tending to take off in those races. It was a bit of a different story there in media, but I'm curious to see what we have here in the juniors.
No, about to find out here awful quick as they bring it down to the flag. Green flag is in the air as they charge at the first turn. Still side by side up here at the point. Oh, we got one around. 2 cars off the track.
And can't quite get a number just yet on those two, but I believe it was second and third, and more action. A kart on top, just hopping over the back of another one there. So a lot of action here early in this one. It may have been Carson Benjamin and Mason Ward. We'll double check next time they cross the stripe. But anything from a clean start there. Definitely early action here for the juniors, getting after it early. Gabriel Payne seeming to escape cleanly, enjoys a healthy advantage over the rest of the field. We'll have to see where everyone stacks out after lap 1.
Yeah, a little bit of first lap chaos, kind of the normal, especially on road courses. I've found throughout my little bit of commentary that I've been doing. Everybody separated now, single filed out throughout the field though, and yeah, Gabriel Payne running off to a huge advantage here at the moment.
Yeah, almost 2 seconds out in front of the field, and again, it was that good opening lap, 50.9 to a 52.4, the next best on track, and it was Mason Ward and Carson Benjamin out early. We'll see, they did cross the line, but they are a fair ways back, 7.7 and 9 seconds respectively for those 2 karts, losing a number of positions. They'll be back to 7th and 8th on track from the 2nd, 3rd starting positions. Everything else remained the same. So everybody else picking up 2 spots, aside from Gabriel Payne, who enjoys a 2-second advantage over the field as he crosses the stripe. 48.4 that time. We'll see 48.6 from Lucian Laser behind. So dead on 2 seconds and slightly extending that lap for Gabriel Payne. Evan Patton there making the move up to 3rd over Nico Santos, who falls to 4th. So everything's starting to calm down a little bit here in the juniors, but 2 out early. Easton Shores also missing as well, having issues on that lap. So problem for the 31 kart, but the 45 here on your screen running without any pressure from behind.
Yeah, currently up to over a 2-second advantage as he brings it here through the final section of the track, down the back straightaway. Looking really good out there. Hasn't thrown a tire to line yet. Real stable.
And that's really all you can ask for. When you have an advantage like this, it's less about, pushing for the last 10th of a second you can find, so much as it is turning clean laps, making sure you keep that advantage, understanding it's a heat race and we've got finals later today, so setting that group position and making sure you find that balance you're looking for out of the kart here early in the morning. As you can see, it's almost up to 2.5 seconds now for Gabriel Payne, looking like the man to beat here so far. Lucian Laser still there in P2, Patton in 3rd, and not a whole lot of fighting. It's about a 2-second advantage each kart over the next, so about 2 seconds back to Lucian, and then another 2 to each respective kart on track, minus Carson Benjamin, who was closed in on Mason Ward there for the P5 position. But last time by, Lucian Laser picking up the pace just a little bit. He'll inch ever so slightly closer to Gabriel, just 100th quicker on that last lap, as they are just a second quicker than the rest of the karts. Evan Patton there in P3 with a 48.6 last time by. So the top 2 still running away from this thing early.
Yeah, the thing that's rough for second place Lucian Laser right now is the fact that he is absolutely matching times with Gabriel Payne lap after lap right now. But problem is, with the advantage that Gabriel got at the start of this thing, there's not really much of a chance that Lucian's going to be able to catch up to him without a huge mistake.
And as the times continue to pick up, you're right on that fact. He picked up another 2/10 on that lap, and that's why I wanted to talk about those first and second laps so heavily. They seem to be very, very important here, as the lap times will stable out over the course of a race, but whoever gets that early advantage is sitting pretty. And that is a 2.5 second advantage that Gabriel Payne has established over the field. So getting the tires right, getting the heat into them has broken the draft. And we'll talk about the draft a lot, especially with these 206 karts, but it's only going to work inside a second, maybe 3/4 of a second. So out this far, there's going to be no assist solution. If he's going to get back to Gabriel, he's got to do it on pace. And there isn't a whole lot of time left. You see the laps clicking off as the timer runs down. We are 2 sticks in the air, 2 laps to go. 2 more clean ones for Gabriel. He'll set his pole position for the final later today as the rest of the field cycles through. And it looks like Colin Harden made a move on Mason Ward that last lap, but not a whole lot of action so far. Karts fairly spread apart, as we'll see when they come back to the stripe, this time by Gabriel Payne in that number 45 kart, looking strong here in 206 Junior.
Gabriel Payne lead him down the front straightaway here to bring it to the line. Good clean race from him, no mistakes. Got a huge advantage. Here he goes. Oh, sorry, white flag at the line. We always try to forget about that last lap apparently today.
That is a habit of mine. You know, especially if you're in the lead, you just want the race to be over. I mean, you don't want to run another lap. As much fun as it is driving, knowing that you're going to have that grid position for the final, it's just get this race over with. Come on, throw that checkered flag already. But he keeps picking up the pace, extending that advantage, so he'll take the white flag on that last time by. So a couple of corners left for Gabriel. Lucian also putting in a strong run in the next closest driver on pace. Then you go back and look all the way down to P5, where Carson Benjamin, matching the pace of the leaders quicker than the karts in front of him on that last lap, not able to do anything with it yet. And it'll be Gabriel Payne across the line, your winner in 206 Junior in the heat race. Lucian Laser coming home P2. We'll watch the karts as they cross the line. I'm curious where Carson Benjamin ends up, as he was a rocket ship on that last lap. Does indeed move up to P4 over Nico Santos. Santos coming home P5. And then we'll wait for the last couple to cross the line. Last time by, it was Colin Harden over Mason Ward and Easton Shores. Shores not completing the full amount of laps. Colin Harden, the last kart on track, will cross the line there in P6. So 8 karts, 6 of them completing all of the laps this race. A lot of chaos there on lap 1. We saw second and third end up out of the race early. So clean early lap seeming to be the keys to the game so far. As that will wrap up the 206 Juniors setting their grid for the finals. Just a couple of more categories. We got the 206 Masters, followed by your KA Senior and KA Masters just after that for the final heat races of the morning. Then we'll go final racing action for 10 minutes plus 2 laps in each of those races. But on the grid there, waiting to head out is your 206 Masters. And we'll check back in here in a moment and get the racing going.
Welcome to the Kart Indianapolis experience at Whiteland Raceway Park. Indy's premier outdoor karting circuit, Whiteland Raceway Park is just 20 minutes south of downtown Indy and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Our trackside event center and high-speed go-karts make Whiteland Raceway Park the perfect destination for your next event or party. Stop in today or book your race online at racewrp.com and experience real racing right here in Indy.
We're at a commercial break.
On track now, 206 Masters getting those tires hot and ready for their heat race here at Whiteland Raceway Park. This is the Indy Karting Challenge. We'll have the morning classes run through. We've got Masters, then KA Seniors strap with your heat racing. Then we'll go final racing action. Then we'll take a break, have the practice and warm up for our afternoon classes, which will include the Purdue GP. So a lot of action coming to you throughout the day here at Whiteland Raceway Park. But on track now, 206 Masters into the tram lines, getting set to take the green flag.
And green flag's in the air. They're off into turn one. Side by side, a little bit of a breakaway here at the front. Kyle Landon starting to pull away from second place just a little bit, but second's fighting back. Troy Toney fighting back on the inside for a little bit there, but falls back behind Landon as they come down the straightaway.
In a 7-car field here, taking the green flag. Kyle Landon there on the pole takes the early advantage over Troy Toney. Matt Geisler in P3, J. Brian Williams P4, BJ Schnettler P5, Palmer Eicher P6, and Jesse Bullock rounding out the field there in P7. So top two closing in bit by bit as the lap works through. On your opening circuit, Kyle Landon with the advantage over Troy Toney. We'll see what the lap times look like as they cross the line. And I keep pointing on this lap one pace and that determining these heat races so far. Troy Toney taking full advantage of his starting spot. It was actually on the outside pole. Troy Toney making his way through there into P1. So from outside pole to lead, he'll take the early advantage over Kyle Landon as they work into the bowl. Just under 4 minutes remaining and a decently packed top five, as close as we can expect so far. We'll see the racing action pick up for second and third as they seem to be closing a bit on track.
And Kyle Landon not really giving him much breathing room either, staying within, a tenth to 2 tenths back each segment of these laps here. Not much for Troy Toney to run away with like we saw with the last heat.
No, and the action heating up here. There's a pass, a move for P2. Matt Geis making his way up into that second position. Now is going to take his turn to try and run down Troy Toney. And Kyle Landon, not the greatest of starts on the pole, now down into third. Early pace not there. We'll see what it looks like when those tires come up to temperature. But second, third, and fourth closing in on track. And Landon falling into the clutches of J. Brian Williams as they work out of the bowl down the long straight. And Troy Toney enjoying that lead, but it's closing bit by bit, second, third, and fourth, starting to hook up and put those laps in. Matt Geist, the fastest last time by. We'll see what the lap times look like this time. It was a half-second advantage for Troy Toney. Now it will be still a half-second. Yeah, lap times fairly even. Matt Geist there in P2, matching the leader on pace. Kyle Landon dropping back into P3, missing just a couple of attempts on that lap. Second, third, and fourth still working together, see if they can hunt down your leader. That number 24, Troy Toney.
Troy Toney's still going to lead it, though, as he started coming to the second half of the speedway here. Still maintaining a decent enough gap, 5/10 ahead, still pulling him a little bit. He's really good on this technical sector here in the second half. Like, that's what I've noticed these past couple of laps. He's really quick on the difficult part of this track, getting down to that back straightaway. And I think that's where the advantage is going to be for him.
And certainly looking strong there, as you mentioned, in the second half. More technical part of this track where you have a couple of switchbacks back and forth. But last lap, it was J. Brian Williams, strongest on track there in P4, so lap times definitely starting to even out as the tires come up to temperature. And he is pressuring Kyle Landon there, your original pole sitter, and we'll be looking for that P3 spot soon. Fastest man on track there in P4 in the battle for the lead. Still just about a kart length separating your top two, Toney over Geist. And they're not making the move yet, but with a lot of pace. J. Brian Williams in the background now fading to the inside, still not making the move just yet as the lead closes down inch by inch. Drivers cross the line. And we will see a couple more cycles of this circuit, a minute and a half on the clock. What's the action have in store for us today?
Right now, we got ourselves a battle for the lead. Troy Toney's been reeled in by Matt Geist. Geist all over the rear bumper of that Kart as they come through the bank corner down to the straightaway. Going to make a dive down to the inside here. He's going to be able to make it stick. Looks
and
like it.
To the lead there.
And a crossover. You see Troy Toney trying to set the crossover. Wasn't able to get it done, though. Didn't have enough power to get the move on the outside there. Going to move Troy Toney to the lead here.
To cross over entirely, but that will bring Kyle Landon and J. Brian Williams back into the fray as the top four now nose to tail on track, and a change in the lead there as you see Matt Geist taking full advantage of his pace early in this race. Will see himself at the point as the top four still working through laps, and I believe our timer should be ticking out here shortly as the drivers work through the last sector of this track. Just trying to give you an update on timing here as we
Troy
see
Toney
more
back to the
fighting
bottom
for the lead. And yep, Troy Toney now has the inside run, the preferred line into this next corner. He will retain the advantage. And 2 laps to go at the line, and that was indeed Troy Toney back into P1 as they are battling hard for P2 there. Actually, I believe that is Matt Geist retains the lead, but one of your top 4 there going around. We'll get you a number on that cart here shortly. His timing's finally ticked up. And updating on our end, they'll be coming back to the white flag next time by, but I believe that was Matt Geist retaining the lead, and we'll have to check and see which kart is missing from these top 4. They'll be coming back to the white flag this time by, and a healthy advantage for your leader.
Yeah, not too much of a worry about a fight here at this point. A little bit of a pull away there.
And you have to apologies for our timing not perfectly syncing up with the on-track action there on your ticker on the left side of the screen. We'll get Alpha up and running correctly here in a minute. And as it does update, yes, it is Matt Geist, Troy Toney, and J. Brian Williams. It was Kyle Landon, your pole sitter, dropping out on that last lap with that incident out of turn number 2. Tough break for Kyle Landon, but coming to the checkered flag this time by, just a couple of corners remaining, and Matt Geist holding the advantage coming through, and he will take heat number 1 victory here in 206 Masters.
That was a good fight. That was a really good battle through and through.
Great battle all the way through. Far more than I was expecting, to be honest. It was a very tightly contended top four, drivers going at it hard. Just a small incident there, removing Kyle Landon from contention, but nonetheless, good action from your 206 Masters. An exciting on-track product, and you see down here in the bottom right of your screen, we're just queuing up to a replay of that incident. We'll see if we can get another look at that. But a tough break there for Kyle Landon, who showed great pace, was your original pole sitter, who's going to have to work his way from the back of the field in the final later this morning. And that'll wrap up your 206 Masters as we see there on your screen. We'll see if we can get that running. The replay here of the action, just coming out of the corner, maybe gets tapped from behind. It's hard to tell. And a great job to our production crew getting us this shot to see what exactly happened. And I believe he just gets tagged from the back in the kart snap. That looked fairly odd to me, Sheldon. I'll get your opinion on this, but that seemingly was out of nowhere. Just a small tap and a round and out for Kyle Landon.
Based on the way that thing hooked around, I wonder if, it caught a tire when he got hit from behind there and maybe looped him around. Heavy acceleration zone there.
It must have, and it looked like they were setting up a nice run on the exit, so maybe just a different in exit speed, and Landon not ready for the tap. Unfortunate to see him out, but we will have his work cut out for him in his final later this morning. When we return, it will be KA Senior, the fastest class of the morning, heading out on track for the final heat race of the morning when we return. And as we cycle through our heat racing events, one more class to go. KA Senior getting those tires warmed up, jacking those karts up in the air, getting every last bit of heat they can here in the early morning. So they'll head into the tram lines, get set for their heat race, set the grid for the final later this morning as they get ready to take the green flag. And Alpha will update and populate our ticker once they cross the timing line. So we'll have more information for you then. But a clean and green start. We are racing here in KA Senior.
Leader getting out to a decent advantage here as they come through the first couple of corners. Everybody's starting to single file out behind him. A little more tame than what we saw in the last one. Nice clean start all the way through so far.
One kart going around there in the background. One of the runners there in some of the farther back positions, but as they work through the bowl on the opening cycle here, it is still Charlie Steins, I believe, who holds the advantage. Starting P1, will retain it through the first and opening lap. 4.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. We'll see the order as they come through this time by. Elijah Fox actually taking advantage from the outside pole, will take the lead, 43.3 on that opening lap to move himself into the top spot. Charlie Steins back 1 position, AJ Lund up in the 3rd over Lane Gibbs, Braden Rudder losing 2 down in that 5th spot over Blake Finley, Michael J. Gundolf, Randall Huppel, Joshua Nelson, and Casey Perry was the big loser of the kart that went around on that opening lap, so tough break there for Casey, but nonetheless, some good action here as the leader out to a good advantage, but 2nd and 3rd there, close on track.
Man, look at Elijah Fox just wheel and dig that thing around here. Elbows up on every segment of this circuit.
Yeah, and as you can see, immediately going from these 206 classes into the KA 100cc 2-cycle power plant, just how much faster the kart is around this facility, the power band just that much stronger in the KA 100 category. Elijah Fox 41.7. We're seeing lap times 5, 6, 7 seconds a lap faster than the 206 karts. So a lot to handle for the guys in KA Senior, especially around this tight facility here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Elijah Fox making the most of it so far, was the fastest driver on track from the lead, but Charlie Steins holding that advantage over AJ Lund. AJ trying to hunt him down, and as they cross the stripe that time by, still Elijah Fox, quickest man on track. AJ Lund feeling a bit of pressure from Charlie Steins, although it's a couple of kart lengths, it's enough to certainly start to be worried about as the tires come in and the pressures are getting set to give us our ultimate lap times of the race. We'll expect to see that here in just a couple of laps. Typically, I want to say it's probably going to be 3-4 laps before we see the best times possible out of these karts, just the conditions we have here today. Track seeming to be cold this morning, a lot of drivers going around so far, so not a lot of grip out there, but for this class, a lot of power to deal with. And Elijah Fox, the man dealing with it well so far, still holds the lead.
Yeah, Elijah Fox walking off to a nice advantage here. And 2nd and 3rd still fighting tooth and nail with each other here. Kind of tapering off here for the time being, but man, so far good racing throughout the field, nice and clean at the moment. Hopefully I don't commentator curse this like I typically do so on other broadcasts.
Well, I think the commentator curse is not restricted to one person. We all get it, and we've all done it before, so we'll see if we can curse some of these drivers here today. Not that we want to, but just a fact of life. When you're calling races, you call something and immediately the opposite will happen. But you're right, 2nd and 3rd closing in, it's going to be tooth and nail for those spots, because Charlie Steins was the fastest driver on track last lap, and like we said, lap 5 we're starting to see the best times of the race so far. Steins 41.2. Elijah Fox also a 41.2, just a couple of hundredths behind, and these 3 drivers taking off on the rest of the field. They've got about a half second of pace on that lap over the drivers on P4 and back. But Elijah Fox, as he holds the lead across the stripe this time by just under a minute on the clock. So I'm guessing we'll see maybe 3, maybe 4 more laps out of this one. But last time by, AJ Lund from P2 is the fastest man on track by a margin. 0.3 of a second advantage over the leader. So with the laps winding down, it'll be a race to see if he can catch Elijah Fox in that 01 machine, setting very quick laps. Does he have enough time to get there?
Yeah, Lund is an absolute rock here at the moment. Really starting to carve into that gap that Elijah Fox has built up. And Steins not super far behind him, but Lund right now, the fastest kart on track.
And that time by still the fastest kart on track. It actually make that Charlie Steins, both of them 2nd and 3rd quicker than your leader. And Elijah Fox settling into that 41.3 range, but the karts behind him in the 41.1 range. So a couple of tenths advantage for the karts in 2nd and 3rd, but the laps are winding down. I think it was 3 laps to go that time by, so we'll see sticks in the air next time by. And with less draft and more power in this category, it's going to be tougher. It's going to be more on the driver to make his way up to the cart in front. And it's going to be hard with Elijah Fox doing as good of a job as he is, nice and consistent, hitting his marks. We'll see the sticks in the air this time by.
Yeah, Elijah Fox been fast in everything he's been in this morning. But the same can be said about the 2 behind him as well. Just right there behind him now as you see the gap starting to dwindle even more here.
The gap is dwindling, but only slightly as Elijah Fox picking up the pace down into the 41.2s that time by. So finding a nice spot to settle in, and it's making the job tough for AJ Lund. But at the end of the day, it is a heat race, so you're just setting your grid for the final. If I'm AJ Lund, the second spot, not the worst thing you could be hoping for to start the final with, but the advantage closing slightly. White flag in the air that time by, and as I say that, throwing down the gauntlet, AJ Lund a 40.9, going 0.3 of a second quicker than Elijah Fox. White flag in the air, and that gap is closing visibly. Only a couple of kart lengths separate the top 2 on your screen.
Now he's in draft range too as they come down the straightaway into the corner. AJ Lund is there all over the rear bumper of Elijah Fox.
He's certainly on that rear bumper. The gap closing massively over this last lap. One more corner to go. He'll launch it down the inside, and AJ Lund looking for that move. He will clear it. Last lap, last corner move. Elijah Fox coming home P2, and it is AJ Lund, the man on a mission, setting another 40.9 on that lap, throwing down the gauntlet on those last couple, picking up the pace, cutting down the leader from what was a wide margin, and that margin wasn't closing a whole lot, but he ran it down. Last lap, last corner, gets the move done, and AJ Lund will set the pole for the final later today. What a way to end that one. That was an exciting finish there, Sheldon.
Yeah, he waited till that white flag was out before he started to make that charge. That was incredible. And I didn't think he was going to have enough grip to make that thing stick when he got into that last corner, but he somehow found it.
He found it, he avoided the crossover, and got the job done. It'll be Elijah Fox coming home P2, Charlie Steins P3, Lane Gibbs P4, Braden Rudder P5, Blake Finley P6, Casey Perry P7, Michael J. Gundolf P8, Joshua Nelson P9, and rounding out your field in 10th position, Randall Hubble. And that'll be your grid as you go to the final later today. Here's a replay of that amazing move on the last lap. Probably the best action we've seen so far today, to come from that far back when it looked like the gap wasn't going to close. I mean, what a job from AJ Lund.
Yeah, that was a great drive there to the finish.
And as we file them into the scale line for the KA seniors, that will actually wrap up our heat racing action for the morning. When we come back, it'll be time to get going with our finals for the morning classes. 206 Sportsman first up on the docket. When we return, they'll get set to go final racing.
That's good. Thank you. Up there? I was just getting ready. I was just gonna text Uncle Andy. Like we need a weedie. What's up? Thank you.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.